I've been going on and on and on about ads and I'm in love with them, but I need to tell you how I got here because there was a time where I was so resistant. So the first time that I explored ads was in 2021, I think. And I paid an agency $10,000 and it was a mess. No results, total mess. They did not have the ability to help me actually build out an ecosystem that was going to work in ads. And they just saw that I was making a lot of money organically and were like, oh, like this will just work. Let's just throw paid traffic on top of it, which absolutely did not work. So after that, I was kind of turned off. Oh, then there was someone else who was going to help me who literally just disappeared into dust. And I was like, okay, whatever, like fuck it. Right. And I just like put it out of my mind and I kept going and I scaled the business to 100K months and everything was vibey. You know, I was in my first few years in business. It was really exciting. But then something happened. After my first $1 million year, in fact, I remember sitting there on December, whatever it was, at the very end of the year. And I had this $20,000 payout come through. And it was so funny because it was like one of the first times I remember not being excited. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm making a lot of money, but I don't want to be on my phone at Christmas. Like, what is this? And I just did not feel the excitement that other people feel, or at least celebrate on the internet after their first $1 million year. Yes, for the accomplishment in itself, but I've never just cared about the money. I've cared about how I make it. And after that, I hit a business dark night of the soul. And it's so funny because it wasn't like there was a slow buildup. I didn't feel resentful of my clients. I didn't feel resentful of the containers. It wasn't like I went that whole year feeling tired. I was just genuinely doing what I wanted to do, which was largely a mastermind and high ticket group coaching model. And at that point, by the time I hit $1 million a year, I had masterminds, but I also had my mid-ticket offers and low-ticket offers feeding in as well. It wasn't just high ticket anymore. And I never had a lot of private. I wasn't drained by private coaching or anything like that. I built the business off high ticket group supported by mid and low ticket. And before the mid and low ticket, it was just all high ticket, but not a ton of private. Anyhow, I didn't feel resentful of any of that, but it was literally like I hit $1 million and I was like, this is not how I want to be running business. And the main thing is that I did not want to be on my phone. And I was waking up to the reality that I did not want to be my own sales system all the time. So yes, I was phenomenal at generating money from my frequency, from my thought leadership, from who I am, from my lived experience. But then when it's like launch after launch after launch, you're like, I have covered this already. And yes, a big piece of building a brand is repeating yourself. Obviously, I have things that I come back to when I'm speaking all the time, but it felt like I was pumping and dumping, where it's just like, put it out, okay, make money, and then do it again later. Put it out, make money, do it again later. Put it out, make money, do it again later, because I was 100% reliant on organic sales. I now understand that's what was wrong. At the time, I didn't understand. At the time, I was just like, why don't I feel the same? I felt the same about my clients, but you know that buzz and that life that you have for showing up to build your company. And I'd always had it. And I was like, where is it? And it was like a year of feeling like that and allowing myself to strip things back because I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't even know what the problem was. I'd built up tons of recurring income. I know how to make money. It was fine. But I did take back a number of the high ticket spaces. And then I was looking at ads again, but I just didn't trust anyone. These agencies, it was like 6 to 10 grand a month. And I'm really psychic. I can tell when people are overworked, stressed out, they're going to be giving you minimal attention and all their attention is just going to whoever their top dog 8-figure client is because she'll talk about them on social media. So they need to be bending over backwards, people pleasing for her. And that never felt right. And then doing it myself, are you kidding me? Just open ads manager. And you're like, just kidding, until you understand it. And until you understand there's so little in there that you actually need to pay attention to. Like, I just didn't understand any of it. So it all felt very overwhelming. And then finally, when I could get my energy around, like all of a sudden I was very excited about low ticket offers. So I spent a year launching low ticket offers, having them feed into the spaces that I want to fill. Sometimes it was just from divine inspiration, sometimes reverse engineered. And it was really fun. And that was the part of business that I somehow loved. And I was like, okay, well, if what excites you is selling these $33, $27 offers, girl, just go for it. I built my low ticket membership, which produced over 100 grand by itself the first year that I had it. So I was vibing on that and then just leveraging those low ticket offers to sell into my more stripped down higher ticket spaces. And then it was now what? And so I started wanting to run ads again. And again, we had to go back into the agency situation. I hired a few different people. I've been in 5,000 programs. I did all the things. And I don't want to make it sound like nobody added any value. They did. But I quickly realized that just handing over your engine to someone else is a recipe for disaster because you don't know enough yourself to be dangerous. And you are giving so much of your profit away. And these people don't understand your business. They are not business coaches. So they can tell you, sure, if your funnel works, we'll put paid traffic on it and it will work. But babe, your funnel and your sales pages and how you're doing your creative and all these things actually need to work for cold traffic, but you can't strip down so much that you don't stand out the way that you would with your people. You're still calling in people. It all needs to feel like you, sound like you, and like be a vibe. And then they get really annoyed if you ask questions because they're supposed to be protecting their secret sauce. But I'm smart. And when I started to realize some of these strategies, I was like, this doesn't make sense. Or they would want me to do things that just don't make sense for my business. And I'd be like, no, just because it worked for your other client does not mean it's going to work for me. And let's say I tried it when I already knew no, it wouldn't work. So then we just spent money on nothing, and I'm paying you this enormous retainer, and I'm not actually getting any smarter because I need to be learning how this works, because I knew the smartest thing to do would be to ultimately bring this in-house. So it was kind of a mess. And then also some of them, when I actually understood ads and like how everything worked, and I went and double checked their work, like what had been done previously, I was like, oh, and there's loads of mistakes. And I was like spending money on those. I will literally never do that again. Then I got in 6,000 programs. And the problem with these programs is some of them are outdated. Meta just moves so fast. You can't be in a program from 2023. They rely on generalized advice and generally how to handle things if something comes up. But ads are so nuanced that you can't rely on generalized advice. So for example, when people will tell you, oh, let's say that you have tons of clicks on an ad and no sales, people will generally tell you the problem is your sales page. But if that's just the advice that you take and you don't actually have anybody working with you, or you haven't really learned this engine yourself to know when there is no problem with your sales page. So for example, I learned my sales page converts at 8% to cold traffic when we're in front of the right people. That is phenomenally well. Normal is 1 to 2%. This is for my low ticket offer. But if I just like went to an ads manager or checked in with a program, they'd be like, oh, well, if you're getting lots of clicks and no sales, then you need to revise your sales page. In fact, I had people tell me that, and I had to be the one to be like, no, I've been running ads for a long time. I've seen my sales page convert at 8% in front of the right people. You are incorrect. But if I listened to them, I would have fucked up a perfectly phenomenal sales page taking generalized advice. I can't tell you how important it is. You always need to know enough to be dangerous. And then what is so funny is the more that you learn, you're able to do this yourself. First of all, I have my team doing half the work, most of it. And then you are like, why was I spending all that money? Unless you are literally trying to manage a budget that is like $50,000 a month towards ads, you might need additional help. But I would rather just have someone on my team who is responsible for that, not an agency that is half paying attention to me because they have so many clients and they're so overwhelmed. And you're just paying this enormous amount of money to click buttons, but you aren't actually learning anything. It just literally makes no sense. And then, like I said, lots of programs, and I would try things and I would test things. And it was so funny because I would see these things that people swear by just not working in my account. It actually reminds me of organic business, especially being an energetic being. I sell to energetically attuned women. Like, I'm a business coach, and I definitely am highly strategic, but I have a very energetic vibe about how I do business. And I would say I'm more of a creative strategist. I am not a one size fits all strategist. So the same thing that I would see be a problem for me or a problem for my clients with organic and what's going to work for us, it was the same thing coming up in the ad world, but with a different face. I then had to figure out, and like nobody was going to understand my copy, like all of these different things to actually give advice. And again, they are not business coaches. And then the business coaches don't understand meta. It was just, or they do it for 2 seconds a year for a launch, but haven't actually built an ecosystem where it is evergreen sales coming in all the time. Getting meta to work for you for one launch is very different than building an evergreen ecosystem that works year round, right? So I captured all this information. I worked with all these different people, did all of these different things. And don't get me wrong, I was seeing success along the way, but things were just feeling off because I wasn't actually in control of the full system. I didn't fully understand everything. And I knew that I needed to in order to scale to really, really big numbers with ads. But my first month, I added 20K to my bottom line. Even with all this testing and figuring things out, I've been profitable the whole way through. But it was like, I know that in order to scale something, not just be profitable, like you got to figure out the little nooks and crannies, because anytime you put more and more money on top of something, you get more of the good and also more of the bad. And we wanted to be getting more of the good. And so I picked up all the bits and pieces, and I brought my skill set for creating insatiable buying desire to how I was creating ads, to how I was writing copy, to how I was working my sales pages, my funnels. And my first funnel didn't work. And I'm not surprised it didn't work because it felt like off, but it was kind of more based on the advice that the more 3D coaches tell you to do for cold traffic. And I was like, of course, this didn't work. I did it again, exactly how I know it should really be. And then that funnel, when I first launched it, was converting at 30% now with tons and tons and tons more people. It is converting at between 12 and 30%, which is absolutely phenomenal, into a $1,111 offer. Normal conversions in this industry is like 1% to 2%. Then, I had a client who I had worked on all of these similar pieces with, and finally she was ready to, well, she'd been scared to commit to ads. Let's just say that. So I took the exact same philosophy and the exact same principles for her of how do you create that insatiable buying desire when you are a multi-dimensional human being. We don't want to strip you down to sound boring. We don't want things sounding so crazy that nobody understands. So we brought that forward. So this is your thought leadership. This is your methodologies. This is your frequency. This is your live stories, and like how all of this weaves together in every single piece of your ecosystem. We created your ad creative, your ad copy, your sales pages, your funnel, and then there's your low ticket offer and your space that you're selling into. So we did all of this for her, and it was just so cool. And then instead of going down the super complex road that other people had taken me down when I was getting my first campaign set up, I can't even get into with you. It was just so overly complex. We focus on what I know works, and for the budget that she has right now, because you do not need to be out there spending $300 a day. I had one agency tell me I should start at spending $300 a day with no proof at all that this was going to work. This is not where you start. So we met her where she was at on her ads journey. She had a 7x return in the first 3 weeks. For every $100 she spent, she made $700. Now we are in the process of scaling. But I was like, wow, look how fast this was for her versus what I went through, because I'm a 3.5 in human design. So I walk first and I'm like, she just got to like get the good stuff out the gates. This is so cool. I want it to be simple. I don't want you to have to go on this long, complex journey of people just telling you to do the one thing that worked for them. Or you'll hear on the internet right now, just have a bazillion creatives, just run to a broad audience, turn on Advantage Plus. I highly recommend that you do not do that. And again, when people are spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on ads, what is going to work in their account is totally different than when you're getting started. The level of just pure data their pixel has because of the volume of conversions to then just go run broad, go run everywhere is at a totally different place than when you are spending far, far, far less money than that. So many of the people who teach these things are scaled to those numbers, talking about what works for them there. I have never seen this type of advice work in my account ever. Okay. So I now am just lit the fuck up because I don't want you scared to run ads because of all these crazy stories. And then it's like, what is the point of creating all this incredible creative, your reels that you already create, all your incredible emails, your incredible sales pages, all these things just to be churning and burning all the time? You could just take what you've already built and make exponential money on it. I have an offer, my primary money offer, Overflow. I've not launched it in 2 years because I don't need to, because it just sells through ads. It's not that I want no organic presence in my company, but I'm just now freed up to do so many other things. And then you can just build an ads ecosystem for any signature offer that you want an ads ecosystem for. And you can still sell it organically. It doesn't take that away. But for me, I was like, oh my God, amazing. One whole primary offer off my plate. You can sell into a mastermind. You can sell into mid-ticket. You can be a low ticket queen where you make all your money at checkout. And like, you're not relying on an email funnel, not from $127 offer, buy your stack at checkout. And you're not relying on an email funnel to sell into a higher ticket space, or you can do both. The options are literally endless. I have even leveraged my organic content to my warm audience to increase visibility and sales on what I am promoting at the time. Options are endless with your warm audience, with your cold audience, just across the board, supporting what you're doing organically, having your system fully take over and running for you. I'm so lit up in business now. I am so lit up in business because I found something where it's not reliant on me. Yes, I make creatives. Yes, I optimize things, but that is so easy, so much easier. And I love knowing that when I dip out for like 2 weeks and I'm not on the internet, it does not affect my money, and not just because of reoccurring income. Okay, reoccurring income still relies on new people. You might not want a business where you need 600 mastermind clients to always make money. And maybe you do. Who cares? Who am I to judge? But in my personal opinion, I can't imagine a world where all my income is reliant on me supporting it or me being the sales system for it. So I love having a mastermind. Here I am getting ready to offer you something that is high touch because I genuinely enjoy it, because I'm supported in all these other ways. There is passive income coming in. So I enjoy the mastermind. I enjoy all of these things so much more, but I'm not building a company that will forever be reliant. There's so many schools of thought on this. There's so many ways to make a mastermind more scalable. It's not to like hate on you if that's what you want, but even if that's what you want, why wouldn't you create a system where there's people coming into your mastermind and you're getting inquiries every day, all the time? Why wouldn't you want that? It's like, no matter what type of business you want to run, ads are your friend. And you don't need to believe because the agencies charge so much money that means that they're complicated. Or you see all these bro marketers online, it sounds so complex. Or you've watched YouTube videos, or you've asked ChatGPT. I highly recommend you stop doing that. It's just like bleh. It doesn't need to be that way. It's just like how organic marketing can be made to seem extremely complex when you are learning in the wrong places. So if you are into your rich and relaxed summer, and relaxed millions are what you fuck with, like, girl, I just cannot tell you how much this has changed my life, then please For the love of your own God, like jump into the compounding ease with ads intensive. It is currently 50% off. I'm having the best time with the women who are booking them. Like it just lights me up. It makes me feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose to just help you. You're already good at business, but take it to the next level and bring so much more ease to your life, to your company, so you can actually just spend your time the way that you want to, without that little voice in the back of your head that's like, oh my God, I need to post. Oh my God, I need to do this. Oh my God, I need to do that. Cause like we're in a launch or I have a launch coming up, and it's always running. It's always running. Imagine a business without that little voice always running. Imagine a business where you are going from that low key pressure that is there all the time to a self-sustaining machine. It's so good. And then look at me. I'm actually excited to show up. And one, I'm excited to show up so that you can have this experience, but also because I don't feel all this pressure all the time anymore. It literally changed my life. And I am just all in on ads. I'm going to continue to be all in on ads, and I'm continuing to build out more and more. And it's just so much fun. So get your intensive while it's still 50% off. I will support you wherever you are on your journey. Like you're running them, you hired an agency, things are not going that well, or you're like, I just don't even understand what they're doing. What is going on? Can you like look at my account and figure this out? To you are new, but you have a signature offer that's new to ads. You have a signature offer that sells. You've been creating content. You've been writing emails. Girl, there's people in your offers. They got here somehow. That is literally all you need to get started. And I will help you create insatiable buying desire at every single point on the journey, from your creative, your ad copy, massaging your sales page for cold traffic, because it's obviously different than selling to warm, but also everything that works with cold also works with warm. Your organic marketing gets even better. Like, trust me, believe. It's wild. And then your email sequence. And it's just like, wow, even helping you figure out how to put together your upsell, downsell funnel, what low ticket offers to focus on. Y'all already have so much. The thing is, like, when I built my ecosystem, it's all stuff I already had. I did not build anything new. I'd been in business for 5 years. There was a lot of stuff, you know? And I guarantee you're in that position as well. And it'll be so much easier than you think. My client who was scared to run ads for a year, now she is like, oh my gosh, why didn't I listen to you sooner? I wish that I had been able to speed up my timeline and learned everything that I learned faster. Oh my God, I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine where I'd be by now. But it's just, it's changed. Like, it's literally changed my life. I'm not exaggerating at all. Changed my life. I'll see you inside.